Hello, welcome back. We're going to talk about the most important thing that doesn't exist. Money. So what do I mean by that? Of course, I mean that money is mostly, especially in this modern day, not even physically real. It used to be at least physically real, but now it is not. That's actually not the point. Even when it was physically real, it wasn't real. It was just at least more tangible. Less able to be manipulated. It goes in the three levels of manipulation, but we can get into that at some other time. Money today is numbers on a computer screen, or numbers saved in a SQL database, or whatever the case is for however your money is stored, usually digitally. Money today, of course, since it is not backed by anything tangible, is debt. Modern money is debt. Gone are the days when money was backed by gold or silver, right? Nice silver bars. That's something that at least has the tangible benefit and value in its scarcity. Scarcity at least gives gold and silver some sort of value. There's some uses for physical gold and silver, electronics and whatnot. But for the most part, the only value it has is scarcity. And it looks pretty on jewelry usually. Today's money, however, this stuff, right, is not worth a whole lot in reality. You can have as much as you want. You can get anything you want in the world with money, but it's mostly like this. Numbers on a screen. It might as well be a Pokemon, your money, because it's not real. Neither is the debt you owe. It's not real either. But besides it not being real, which is pretty obvious, what else is important about money? Something revolutionary, an idea, a paradigm shift in the way you think about money will release you from your burdens of guilt and feeling like you owe someone something. I'm here. I bear good news for those who will listen. Money is debt. Debt is money. In that, our modern currency is debt. And once you look at it like that, you'll want actual debt. Actual debt is loans. Rich people don't have a whole lot of actual money. They might have some physical money. They'll have some cash. But most of their money is not even on a screen, actually. Most of their money is money they borrow. They are nothing but arbiters of debt. They take money from one place, borrow it, and invest it in something else, and then collect that investment, pay back the debt, and then keep what's left. Housing is a very easy way, but that's how almost all money and all rich people work. You could work hard all day and earn all sorts of money, and good for you, but it's better to have debt. And interest aside, debt is better. The money that you owe to people, if you have credit card debt, if you have car loan debt, if you have some sort of debt, student loans, ooh, thank God I dodged that bullet. If you have these sort of debts, your mind will be riddled with, I gotta get out of this debt. I gotta get out of this debt. Right? Outside of student loans, most of your debt can be, as long as you're poor enough, as long as you're a normal person earning a normal person's salary, can be completely forgiven with bankruptcy. Worst case scenario. Right? That's worst case scenario. And bankruptcy, for all its trumped up, bankruptcy, I'd rather die. And some people literally die when they could have easily just gotten rid of those problems with bankruptcy, filing a couple forms and waiting a few months. But People work themselves to death, worry themselves to death over things. Medical debt, bankruptcy, gone. So if you do have, I have $200,000 in medical debt, right? Declare bankruptcy. It's even better than those debt forgiveness programs, or you just pay half the debt, and for some people it's better to do that. For other people it's better to do bankruptcy 7, 13, whichever. But I have even more good news. There's no debtors' prisons. Those are gone. If you owe people money, if you owe Visa money, MasterCard, Barclays, whoever, if you owe them money, especially a credit card, here's what they do. They send you a letter. They might call if it gets to that, and you can feel free to just hang up on them. That's it. Oh, they ruin your credit score, and that is something that people are obsessed with. Unless you're buying a house or starting a business, you don't need to worry about your credit score. If you already own a house, then you really don't need to worry about your credit score unless you own a business. And if you have your business properly set up, after a while, you won't even have to worry about your personal credit score. It'll be the business's credit score. All that to be said, what is money really? And what can it become? So, this is important to understand, and that's economics. Money, especially at an economic scale of that of a country, is even more pie in the sky, wishy-washy. The stock market, inflation, deflation, all these things, depression, recession, right? All these things, they're all up here. This is just numbers on pieces of paper, technically cotton, right? This, your little your debit account, your bank account, they don't have this in the bank. They don't store your money. They store it in a computer's memory. They definitely don't store your money in silver or gold. That you can that you can be sure of. They don't have. Oh, John. Oh, he has $200,000 saved at this bank. Oh, where do we keep his $200,000? We don't. It doesn't exist. They don't have it. Your money, when you come in and you say, I want all my money, they have a small amount that they give you. But even more so, at an economic scale of that of a country and the world, it's all in people's heads. Because what is inflation? Inflation means rising prices of things. That's what it is. It means everything costs more money. Why? Well, if I'm the butcher and it costs me $1 more to get the meat to sell, then I'm going to pass that. Now the meat costs $1 more that I sell. And then you go home and you say, nope, cost $1 more for meat. I can't spend money on chocolate. So then the chocolate man is like, I'm not making any sales. I need to raise my prices so that when I do make a sale, I make money. So now chocolate prices have gone up because meat prices have gone up. Of course, that's a gross simplification, but you understand my point. It's all people's minds, especially the stock market. I think, NVIDIA stock is going to go up, and I buy a bunch, and everybody else buys a bunch because they think it's going to go up. And guess what happens when people buy a bunch of a stock? It goes up. That's how it works. If people think it's going bad, they sell it, and the price goes down because people are selling it for less and less. The company could have done nothing in the interim. No earnings report. It could have been over the weekend, right? And the prices will still go up and down based off of speculation. It's pure speculation. And this comes to an even more important point, and that's government. Let's take Guatemala. I love Guatemalans. I love the Guatemalan people. I love the Guatemalan food, right? Great, hardworking people. However, not the richest country in the world. Quite poor, actually. Very poor compared to the United States. Or let's take Switzerland. Switzerland, rich as can be. Does Switzerland have more natural resources than Guatemala? No. In fact, most of the most resource-rich places, many countries in Africa, South America, places, they're broke. Right? There's nothing wrong with the ground, the soil in Guatemala that makes them poor, and the Swiss so much more rich because the sun shines differently there. There's nothing different. The only difference between Guatemala and Switzerland, outside of climate, is the people that live there. People and their ideas about money is what makes Guatemala poor and Switzerland rich. Why? Well, Jesus put it best. To he who has, more shall be given. To he who has not, even what he has will be taken away. That is not just theological philosophy or whatever. That is a statement on the actual way the world actually works, because that's how systems work. It's entropy, and it's vicious cycles that go up or go down. If everybody's poor, then they're going to be stingy with their money. And if people are stingy with their money, they don't spend their money. If people don't spend their money, nobody can get that money. If nobody can get that money, then they're poor too. Switzerland, the opposite. I think some Swiss money is worth something. So the Swiss go out, they spend money. Everybody says, ooh, now I can spend this money. I'll go to the coffee shop. Now the coffee shop owner says, now I have money to go to the butcher. Butcher says, now I have money to go to the chocolatier. And the chocolatier says, I can go to the bank. And everybody gets more money. It's all in people's heads. There is no poverty of reality. There's a poverty of the mind. All of this stuff, this money, is not real. It's all in your head. Wake up, right? It's not even not real. Oh, haha. It's not even real. Really, it's just computer screen stuff, right? It's all what you think. The economy is collective psychosis. Humans, for whatever reason, have a very good ability to manage numbers and how that affects other numbers and economies, basically. Oh, this is fair. That's another thing. Sense of fairness. Why is Guatemala suck economy, right? Why is their economy suck? And the Swiss does not? Confidence. You don't spend money if you don't think you'll have more later. Right? If you think money's just going to constantly come in, then you spend money. The Swiss know that they have plenty of money because they trust their government. The government is not corrupt. In many other countries, either it was corrupt very recently, either due to other countries' interference, which is possible in some cases, or because that government is corrupt. That's why dictatorships and communist places where corruption thrive, they're the poorest. It's, case in point, Venezuela. Resources beyond your wildest dreams. Oil practically flowing up from the ground. Rich, fertile soil. Rivers to transport stuff. A large population able and previously and still currently well educated, well connected to the world, a great position next to trading partners, Brazil, the United States, just up north, take a short boat ride, all your goods and services, right? Many neighbors that speak the same language, large land, broke. Absolutely broke. All right. Colombia has its own corruptions, all right, and that has limited them. Colombia is practically Switzerland compared to Venezuela. Colombia is practically paradise on earth, gold raining from the sky compared to Venezuela. Why? Because the Venezuelan government is corrupt. Now, you could say what you want about the Colombian government, but certain systems of government, communism, which leads to cronyism, and late stage capitalism, which leads to cronyism, anything in which there's corruption, doesn't matter, democracy, republic, king, a theocracy, whatever the case is, if it's not corrupt, or more importantly, if it's not thought to be corrupt, right? It's all about your confidence. It's not really about actual corruption. That does have its impact, but the bigger impact is what people think about the corruption. So when there's places where people can't get fired very easily because the government's so large, big governments, like in communism, you have to have a big government in order to implement communism. Venezuela's not communist, it's socialist, but socialism increases the size of the government. All these red tape people, all these bureaucrats, scraping off the top, at least in people's minds, make it so that there is no incentive to spend your money. And if you don't spend your money, the goods and services don't get made, they don't get sold, they don't get done. Nothing gets done. People live in fucking mud shacks if it's bad enough, all right? It's not because they don't know how to build houses, right? They could. And even if they don't, there's books, right? They could build houses. They could build mansions for every single citizen of Venezuela. There's enough resources there for them all to have bellies full of delicious ripe fruit and meat and everything you could possibly dream of. They could have flying cars. They could all have McMansions, every single one of them. They could all have 3 cars. They have the resources. They have the oil. They have the population. What they don't have is right up here. Not stupidity, but rather a poverty of the mind. Because they are right. If they spend the money, they might not get more later. Why? Well, because no one else wants to spend their money. Why does no one else want to? Corruption. The best case scenario, or best example of this, obviously, is North and South Korea. I'll try not to rehash some of the stuff I did with Venezuela. South Korea has less land and less natural resources than North Korea. North Korea is right next to China, a very large trading partner. South Korea is next to the ocean, which is next to Japan. But North Korea is also next to the ocean, which is next to Japan. All being equal, North Korea should be richer. But they're not. In fact, North Korea is the worst place on the entire fucking planet. Why? It's not because the North Koreans are stupid. It's not because the North Koreans are ugly. It's not because the ground in North Korea spawns demons that attack people at night. It's not because it rains molten lava from the skies in North Korea instead of South Korea. It's not because South Korea was blessed by, the god of money or something. It's because North Korea is corruption with a capital C. It's the most corrupt place in the world. It's because they have a poverty of the mind. Okay? They think they're poor. They are poor because nobody is doing what can be done or should be done because they're all afraid. South Korea, model of capitalism. They practically have flying cars in South Korea. One of the most technologically advanced societies in the world. Why? It's not because South Korean people are just so much better than North Korean people. It's because their money flows freer. Because North Korea, they don't have credit cards in North Korea. They don't have bank loans in North Korea. Money isn't debt in North Korea. There is no money. Right? What little they have is only owned by those in political power. Okay? Which is usually held in foreign money, so that they can exchange it for something like this, right? Something real that they can actually sell to someone. Something that's at least somewhat scarce. North Korean farmers do what they're told to do because they have to. All right? There's some that, in the right circumstances, in an environment that promotes ingenuity and hard work, they could be doctors, lawyers, they could invent cures for cancer, whatever the case could be, but they're not, because they're being held back by the economy, by collective psychosis, sociology. That's what it is. Money, the economy, it's all sociology. If everyone believes that it'll work, it'll work. If everybody believes it will not work, it won't work, no matter what you do. That's something that took nations years. We started with mercantilism, which was literally the only money was gold. That was it. And gold is scarce. So nobody had money. Most people had no money because gold is scarce. Most people were serfs, which is a step above slave. All right? When money flows free, there is prosperity. When money does not, well, you have to take it out of people's hands, there is nothing but death. Literally. And it's all in your head. I think I've said enough about that. So, get into debt or don't. But remember, don't beat yourself up if you get poor. And we could talk about the practical approaches for the average American at some other time.